Hi everyone, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. And in today's video I wanted to share with you some of the books that have been on my TBR for the longest time and that I need to read till the end of the year. I have also a few new additions to my collection, so just very few of these books aren't that old, but I still want to read them before the end of the year. We will see if it's actually going to happen, because I'm not going to include books that are on my October TBR or books that I'm going to read for Booker Prize 2020. So they obviously will not be in this video, but I'm still going to read them. These are just like some extra books that I hope to get to this year till the end of the year, maybe somewhere in November or in December. With no further ado, let's begin. The first book is actually a new addition to my collection, so it's not that old, but this is a book by an author whom I really like, and so this is The White Book by Han Kang. If you don't know, this year, I'm sure the majority of you will know, this year I have discovered Han Kang for myself, and I read her Vegetarian and I read her Human Act, and I so much loved those books. I feel like they're so important and so beautifully done and so well written. I just loved everything about them, especially like I feel like Human Act, both of them are brilliant, like don't get me wrong, both of them are brilliant, but I just love Human Act in particular. And in this case, so this is The White Book, her third book, and I feel like it's going to be a very quick read, because like look, it's written in kind of form of short paragraphs like this. So the whole book is like that. There are even pictures. And so this book deals with grief, and the way Blurb puts it, so The White Book is a meditation on color, beginning with a simple list of white things. It is a book about mourning, rebirth, and the tenacity of the human spirit. It is a stunning investigation of the fragility, beauty, and strangeness of life. And I read somewhere that Han Kang wrote this book because in her family they had like a young baby, I think like her young sister, but the baby died when it was like very small. She wrote it kind of maybe in memory of her sister. I'm not sure, I just read it somewhere. I'm very excited to get to this book, and I'm sure it's going to be just as brilliant as her two previous books. The next book that I want to read has been on my TBR for a long time. It's probably not the oldest book on my TBR, but it still has been on my TBR for a very long time, and I really need to get to it. And this is Tiagoni and Works and Days by Hesiod. I've been watching Jean Bookishtats and I got inspired to read more ancient literature, because if you don't know, Jean Bookishtats, she's studying her PhD and she's doing her studies in like ancient literature kinda. She's very passionate about it, and so it's very contagious. And so I also got myself, actually you cannot see it, but like up there on the higher shelf I have like a stack of ancient literature books. I only read Lysistrata so far, but it's okay, it's okay. So this is going to be the second book that I'm going to read. I hope to do it before the end of the year, and also it's really short. It's really short, and I thought it would be like a logical place to start, because this is like Tiagoni, so you know, it's like a story about how all the gods were created, so like how the world began. So this is like the beginning, the very start. So I thought like it was very logical. Somewhere maybe in November. It's like 50 pages, like the text itself, okay, 60 pages. I feel like I can just go again to some coffee shops and read it. Next book has also been on my TBR for a very long time, and I'm very excited to get introduced to this author, because I know that this lady, she's a very beloved author. She a very famous author as well, and a very important one, from Chile, and this is Isabel Allende, and this is her new book, A Long Petal of the Sea. On the blurb, on the back, there is this like quote by an author, and he writes that this is a novel not just for those of us who have been Allende fans for decades, but also for those who are brand new to her work. What a joy it must be to come upon Allende for the first time. I feel like it's one of those authors whom you read and then just fall in love with them, and then you just read all of their works. So I hope it's going to be a case for me. I don't really remember what the book is about, so I will read you the blurb. September 3rd, 1939, the day of the Spanish exile's splendid arrival in Chile. The Second World War broke out in Europe. A young doctor, when he is caught up in the Spanish Civil War, together with his sister-in-law, they are forced out of his beloved Barcelona and into exile. When opportunity to seek refuge arises, they board a ship to Chile, the promised long petal of sea. There they find themselves enmeshed in a rich web of characters who come together in love and tragedy over the course of 4 generations, destined to witness the battle between freedom and repression as it plays out across the world. A masterful work of historical fiction that soars from Spanish Civil War to the rise and fall of Pinochet. A long petal of the sea is Isabel Allende at the highest of her powers. So it sounds very good. I feel like it's going to be a very interesting work of historical fiction. I'm going to really like it. So this year I wanted to get into Brandon Sanderson, because everybody loves Brandon Sanderson, because everybody just raves about him and just adores him. I want to get on the wagon too. I want to adore the man too. So I decided to start with his The Way of Kings, but for some reason it was a little bit hard for me to get into. Like, I was enjoying certain chapters, like about Kaladin and about this girl, I forgot her name, but then there were some chapters that I didn't really care about, like new characters. And then I mentioned it in one of my videos, and some of you told me that like The Way of Kings is a bad place to start with Brandon Sanderson. You told me that like you better start with some of his shorter works, and so you recommended me Elantris or his second book about 2 sisters. I decided to start with Elantris because it was like his first work, his first book, and I'm like, okay, I will just start with his first published work. I hope to read Elantris till the end of the year. It's how many pages? It's a little bit on the longer side. It's 580 pages, but I feel like I can do it. I just need to like choose a few days where I will devote them completely to reading Brandon Sanderson, this Elantris, and I will film a reading vlog for this, because I know when I film like reading vlogs on a certain topic or on certain book, it really like motivates me to finish the book. And because it's a longer one, I could drag it. Like, I have this tendency, if it's a long book, I can drag it for a very long time, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I feel like filming a reading vlog would really motivate me to finish the book faster, and then we could talk about it together, because I'm sure a lot of you have already read it. I watched an interview with Brandon Sanderson where he was talking about like just his writing, and he said that like Elantris isn't his best work. He was talking about particularly like characters and writing caricature characters, how he doesn't really want to do it. He wants to portray like realistic human like feelings and problems, and he said that like in Elantris there are some characters that he says that are caricaturistic, and that like it wasn't his intent. That's just what I heard from like the interview, what the man told himself. I don't know, what do you feel, what do you think about this book? I will still start with this. I feel like it's better to start with his first work, right? And then the author evolved, and so his writing will evolve, and so his books will just get better and better and better for me, right? So I just figured I would better start with his first work. So I'm very excited to get into the book. I hope I'm going to like it. I really hope I'm going to like it. So the next book is also a new addition to my collection, and I feel like it's just the perfect time to read this book. Everybody is reading it. This is like, you know, the world situation This is The Plague by Albert Camus. It was in my last book haul, which I will link up here if you haven't watched it, if you are interested. The famous Plague by Camus. The townspeople of Oran are in the grip of a deadly plague, which spread from rats and now condemns its human victims to a swift and horrifying death. Forced into quarantine in the sweltering heat, each person responds in their own way to the lethal disease. Some resign themselves to fate, some seek blame and revenge, and a few, like the unheroic Dr. Rooks, join forces to defy the terror. Written just after the Nazi occupation of France, The Plague is a taut, visceral depiction of resistance against a seemingly uncontrollable evil. Winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. Well, not the book, the author. I'm very interested in the episode where it says that like different people respond differently to the epidemic. I want to read about it. I feel like it's going to be very interesting. Let me know if you have read Plague, and like just let me know if you read any of the book I mentioned and what you thought about them. So next book is also a fantasy, and I picked this book up on recommendation of Reagan from Peru's Project. She read it like a long time ago. I think maybe she read it last year or in beginning of this year. I just watched one of her reading vlogs and she really loved it. She said like the characters are very lovable, it's just so much fun, such a just enjoyable adventure. I feel like usually it's hard for me to get into fantasy, but I am still trying. I mean, I just need to find books with interesting characters, and I'm sure I will love them. So this is The Lies of Loch, Lamour by Scott Leach, and this is apparently a book about thieves living in not Venice, but a city similar to Venice. And they're kind of also friends to the poor. They also steal money from the rich. It's just a book about thieves. And I feel like thieves are very, not likable, but like charismatic characters. So I feel like I also might enjoy this book. So I want to give it a try. If I like it, I will read the whole series. I feel like it's a trilogy, so it's not too long, because I'm very bad with like series and continuing with the series. But I feel like trilogy I could do. The next book I bought because I was missing Russia. I just bought it on the mood because I was missing Russian winter. And so this is The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I don't really know anything about the author. I don't really know anything about like her books, but apparently she has a lot. Like look, there is like a whole series here on the back. But I just bought this because I was missing Russian winter, and I'm like, yes, I need to read something about it. And so this is also a book about a family living somewhere, like, you know, in a god-forgotten place. They live far away from any town and any like city, and then this winter happens and they're like cut off from all types of civilization, and then apparently they will need some help, and the girl and her friend will go out into the storm, which I feel like is not a good idea. I don't know if it's going to be realistic, because honestly snowstorms in the wild, like, you don't want to go out. But like, we will see, maybe it's going to be realistic, maybe it's going to be well done. So okay, I'm curious to read. The next book I am excited to try, because also I've heard so many good things. People generally speaking really like this book, and like the whole series won so many awards, and like each book in the series won Hugo Award. So this is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. But I also remember in one of my videos a person commented that it's actually very depressing. There isn't any hope in this book. People are very cruel to each other, and like there is no hope. And that's something that I don't really like in books. I always want, even like in the worst of the situations, I always want to see hope. So we will see. I haven't read this book myself, so it was just a comment in one of my videos, which I'm like, it might not be my cup of tea, but we will see. I need to read it first and then, you know, see for myself. But it could possibly be not a book for me, I feel like. But you know, it's just very much personal preferences, so obviously like I'm not going to, you know, criticize it or say anything. It's won so many awards, like who am I to say anything? It's just that it might probably not be for me, but we will see, we will see. I'm going into this book with an open mind with a very open mind, so hopefully I will at least enjoy it. Next book is a continuation of Anne of Green Gables series. So I have read 3 first books in this series, and this is the 4th one, and I also have the 5th. So I hope to finish this series this year. If not, then at least read this book. I've already started it actually, but I don't know, first is my favorite. The first is just like hands down my favorite, because Anne is a child and she's just the best character that I have encountered. And then in the later books she just grows up. The 3rd book is very much about like romance and romantic relationships between her and Gilbert, which was like, it was still fun. There still were some very funny, interesting characters and situations, and I still laughed a lot. It just wasn't the same, you know. Like when Anne is a child, she's just the best. And so in this case I feel like it's still going to be like romantic relationship between Anne and Gilbert or something like this. But I noticed like where I started, it's written like in letters. At least like the beginning of this book are Anne's letters to Gilbert, because he is studying away. And I feel like, I don't know, it's not my favorite probably form of storytelling, like letters. I mean, it's still interesting, it's still the same writing, the same humorous writing. It's different, like it's still not the same for me. So I'm enjoying it, but it's not my favorite, you know. So but I will still continue. Of course I will finish this series because I still love the books and I still love the character. So yeah, I need to finish this. The next book has been on my TBR for a very long time, for like a very long time, maybe like a year already, and I really need to read it. And this is Fugitive Pieces. And this book has something to do with Second World War, or aftermath of the Second World War, where this man finds, somewhere in Western Europe, he finds this young boy who lost his family in war, and he was all by himself. And this man adopts him and brings him, I think, to Greece, to Athens. It's just about the boy learning to open up again, learning to love again, learning to trust again. So I feel like it's going to be just a very maybe heartwarming and hopeful and just kind book, and I'm sure I'm going to like it. And it's so beautiful, like this edition is very beautiful. So yeah, I just need to sit again, I just need to kind of calm down, you know, forget everything, concentrate and just read this book, you know. I'm really sure I'm going to like this book. One more book that I hope to read this year, which also has been on my TBR for a year already. This is Laden the Mist. I mentioned it in my previous video where I talked about lesser known books that I want to read, so I will link it up here. So this is Laden the Mist. This book was written in the beginning of the 20th century. The author is Hope Mirrorless. It received high praise from Neil Gaiman and from another author on the back. And I feel like it's really a forgotten novel. Not many people know about it, but it sounds actually very interesting. And I feel like it has this element of maybe magical realism to it, which I personally enjoy. So I feel like it's going to be interesting, but also spooky, maybe a little bit spooky, dark. So perfect for this like fall season. In this book, it's a story of this town where people are very like realistic, you know. They only believe in things that you can see and things that you can touch. However, the town is located in between 2 rivers, and one of these rivers flows from the land of the fairy. And we follow this one man living in this town, who is obviously also, he is very pragmatic, very realistic, doesn't believe in anything of that sort, but he has kind of a secret in his family which he doesn't want to acknowledge. Then his daughter disappears and he is kind of faced with the facts. and he also has a son whom he needs to protect. So that's why, like, I feel like he will have to acknowledge the secret, and there will be something mysterious in this book. So I am excited to give it a read and to give it a go. I have 2 more books which have been on my TBR for a very long time, but I'm sure I will not get to them until the end of the year. So I thought I would just show them to you, but I probably will not be able to read them till the end of the year. So one of them is The Name of the Wind, and another one is Tiagoni by Gabriel K. Let me know in the... I'm sure a majority of you probably have already read The Name of the Wind. Maybe some of you read Tiagoni. I feel like somebody mentioned this author in one of my comments, and I feel like maybe he is a famous author. I just didn't know about him. So let me know if you read any of these books, or just maybe something by Gabriel K, and what you think about their writing, if you like these books. I know that The Name of the Wind is like huge and everybody likes it. I want to like it too, and I want to get to it too, but it's on a chunkier side, so that's why I'm sure I will not be able to get to it until the end of the year, so hopefully next year. This is a standalone fantasy novel dealing with country struggling to be free. It is the tale of people so cursed by the dark sorceries of the tyrant king that even the very name of their once beautiful home cannot be spoken or remembered. So this is just, I feel like it's going to be about people and country trying to change the government and find a new king, something like that, depose their king. So something like that. I want to read it, I want to give it a go. Actually the font is very comfortable size, and this edition is very floppy, so I feel like the reading experience is going to be good, given if I like the book. So, but it's also a big one. How many pages? I feel like it's 800 or something. 800 maybe? Yes, 800 pages. So, but I will read it at some point. These were books that have been on my TBR for the longest time, the oldest books on my TBR, and the books that I hope to read till the end of the year. Hopefully I will be able to get to at least the majority of them. So let me know in the comments what are some of the books that you hope to get to till the end of the year and read. If you have read any of the books that I have mentioned and what you thought of them. And I hope you are having a very good day. I hope you are staying safe, and I will see you soon in my next videos. Thank you very much. Bye.